Congratulations are in order for two Northwestern students who used strategy and hard work to win the College Fishing Central Regional Championship.
The two founding members of the new competitive bass fishing team outlasted a dozen other Midwestern collegiate teams to earn a shot at the national title. And they also gave us some tips for one of their favorite fishing spots.
I thought you had a big one.
I know, so did I.
Just another quiet day on the lake. Meet Matthew Kostufsky and Jimmy Morrow. They helped start Northwestern's new sportsman's club, but their first passion is fishing, competitive bass fishing to be exact.
The thing about bass fishing is it's one of the only competitive sports that I can participate in fishing. And so I really got into bass fishing based on the competitive aspect of it and competing in tournaments. See your line move a little bit, like a little tick, and that's usually a sign of a fish. So
my friend and I actually started the Northwestern Sportsman's Club, which is more of an overarching outdoor interest activity club. And the bass fishing team is kind of a sub part of that club.
The thing about bass is like they're good sport fish because they jump, they're aggressive feeders, they get pretty big, they fight hard.
Jimmy and I were pretty experienced fishermen, but we weren't experienced tournament fishermen. To go from not even having a team, just a couple years ago, to now being recognized as one of the better teams in the country, it really means a lot to us because we've put a lot of hard work into it. Over the past couple seasons, we've learned where the fish tend to stack up at different times of year and tend to school. We've learned what they react to in terms of what kind of baits they would eat.
In this last tournament, for instance, we used frogs to catch all of our keepers that won us the $50,000.
In October 2011, Matt and Jimmy represented Northwestern in the Central Regional College Fishing Tournament on Lake Kincaid near Carbondale, Illinois.
Jimmy and I spent a lot of time actually down on Lake Kincaid to prepare for the tournament. So we went down there once in late August and mid-September, just hit lots of different spots, trying to figure out where the fish were.
I started preparing for this tournament probably in June, and the tournament was in October. And what that entailed was I basically sent out over 100 and some odd emails. If your name came up that you fished a tournament on Lake Kincaid and you had an email address online, I sent you an email. The majority obviously didn't respond, but for the ones that did and were really helpful, they gave me their inside knowledge on the lake.
And that inside knowledge paid off big time. But first, there was some tournament stress to endure.
After the first day of competition, we had about 4.5 pounds, which was good enough to put us in 5th place. And the top 5 teams, after 2 days, move on to the final 3rd day and to the national championship. So we knew we had to do at least as well as we did the first day or better to make it to the final day and thus the national championship.
Luckily, we caught a fish actually pretty early in the morning on a frog. That was a really nice one. It gave us a lot of confidence for the rest of the day in the marina. Huge. Yes. 17 3/4.
It's almost 2 pounds.
It's like 3-pounder.
Yeah.
Solid fish, dude. We knew we had to catch another one though. We ended up coming to this one bank that wind was blowing on it, and Matt immediately caught a good-sized keeper fish, and we decided to stay on that bank. And Matt was actually reeling in on a rubber frog, and a really big fish came up and blew up on the rubber frog, and the tails of the rubber frog were completely ripped off. And I immediately grabbed a Senko, which is a small rubber worm, and casted right to the spot where the fish blew up. And it was like 10-mile-an-hour winds. It was like real windy, and I just see my lines do one tiny little tick, and I'm like, there he is. I set the hook. We reel in probably the biggest fish we caught of the tournament, and the frog feet from Matt's lures were still in his mouth actually when we got it to the boat, and we just went nuts, and we knew we had a good shot to go to the final day after that fish.
All right, 4-7 yesterday. 4 ounces to get back in the top 5. Northwestern, 8-7, 12-14 total. And they're now your new leaders. Nice job by 2.5 pounds.
Good job, Northwestern.
We came into the final day leading, actually, so we were pretty excited about that.
I finally get the bite that we need. I'm reeling it in, and unfortunately it jumps right at the boat and shakes its head, and the hook comes right out of its mouth.
And so we were pretty down about that, and then Matt had another bite on the frog, and somehow the line snapped, and we just thought at that point like it wasn't meant to be for us.
Broke the line.
Sorry, come on, keep going. They're here. They're starting to bite. Yo, they're starting to bite. Let's go.
Starting to bite.
So we didn't get another bite the rest of the day, and we came back to the weigh-in devastated, basically. We thought for sure we just gave away the tournament. When we got to the weigh-in, we saw that second place team only had 1 fish, and we knew it was going to be really close because we had a 2 pound 8 ounce lead, and if that fish weighed 2 pound 8 ounces, they would have won the 50,000.
2 pounds and 4 ounces. Northwestern is your champions.
It's not very often you compete for $50,000 in a fishing tournament.
Congratulations.
It's awesome, and this brand new boat we won is going to really help us out going forward.
Northwestern University just obviously didn't have a name in the bass fishing circuit.
Now we're considered to be one of the top teams in the country, and I'm really looking forward to the next season and moving on to the national championships, the top 25 teams in the entire country.